Testing, testing. All right. It seems we're live. I'm not in the best of health, so you're going to hear me coughing a little bit. I'll try to reduce the intensity of the coughs. But I just want to show you what I've been working on tonight, which is continuing to work on Gatsby Theme dev blog. And that's the new, it's essentially Dan's blog, but as a Gatsby theme. I have a previous video in this series where I walk through some of what I did, and that's down in here.
Literally looks like this. And we're just using the experiment.
So be sure to check that out because that's I'm going to make that a dependency of watching this video. And so basically that initial first attempt was just like a port over from overreacted.io, and now I want to actually make it a reusable theme because a lot of the code was hard-coded with Dan's personal stuff, which we want to make it easy to override, and that involves using theme options. And over here you can see how I made some notes. I'm just going to walk you through on the code and also show you how to basically start developing it for yourself because I feel like that's important. And you'll see things like the minor details. For example, if you want to discuss on Twitter or edit on GitHub, this redirects to the correct repo. And these are minor details which it's going to be hard to set up. Well, it's just hard coded inside of the overreacted blog. So you definitely want to make it easy for people to consume, and that's using theme options. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to clone the repos. So there's two repos. One is, well, if you want to know how to write themes, then you should clone this one, which is the Gatsby theme. And then if you want to know how to use the theme, I suggest cloning the demo repo that just consumes this. So this one is very simple. It just consumes Gatsby theme dev blog. Okay, so and then for those people who are not familiar with linking, so I have two windows over here. One window does the theme, and then the other window does the demo. And so what you do is you have these two windows open, and then you select your link. I already have this linked, but you yarn link over here, and then you go over here and you say yarn link Gatsby theme dev blog, right? Yep, okay. And so then whatever changes you make here will be reflected here, and it live reloads, which is pretty cool. So let me just run this. So that's my alias for yarn start. And so this is going to be hard to show you because I've already done the code, and I'm not. There was just too much work to go back and undo the code. But I do want to show you how cool it is that it's live reloading. So here I'm editing the theme source code, and I'm going to do something fun like I don't know. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So here I have Dev Abramov as it's the author. Well, okay. It's going to be most obvious if I don't have a site metadata title here, so I'm just going to comment this out. Ooh, and that just that's not good. Okay, I don't see how else I can do this. All right, I don't think it's worth it, but just take it on faith that it live reloads. And so what I did for the Gatsby theme dev blog is the first thing that you want to do when you're taking options is basically convert. So usually a Gatsby theme, or usually any Gatsby project looks like this, where a Gatsby config.js, you're exporting an object, and then you have a whole bunch of options and plugins and whatnot. And so to take options inside of Gatsby theme, you turn it into a function that accepts an object, and then ultimately what you want to do is return that object, right? That's essentially what you want to do. But here now you can now you can execute arbitrary code with that with that options. And the options are entirely defined by you. So it's just plain JavaScript, which makes it a little bit harder to validate that you have the right fields and all that. And that's why I have this little helper function that just checks the fields, and if there's nothing provided, I'll provide a warning. I feel like that's better developer experience, and it lets you also just do a better default out of the box experience as well. Like if the user doesn't supply anything, what Gatsby tends to do is just crash, and that's not a very good experience for what I'm trying to do. If you want more strict, a more strict theme, so people do it right the first time. So, for example, here I'm just giving a dummy subscription thing, which is probably not a good idea for most practices. So, but it's just up to you. It's a judgment call. So you can see the correspondence between the user, right? So I'm using the theme here, and I'm defining the theme here, and then I'm using the theme here. I'm supplying the options, for example, tracking ID. So it's going to come down here and look for a tracking ID. If the tracking ID exists in the field, it's not going to do anything. And it's going to use the tracking ID all the way down in here with the Google Analytics plugin. And it's the same thing. So you basically, as someone designing the Gatsby theme, you're designing the external API, right? Of what you want people to say. I have a lot of repetition here. I could maybe simplify that a little bit at the expense of less flexibility. So it's really a judgment call, and I feel like there will be some best practices that evolve over time. You can even use Gatsby themes to pass in. So here, most of these things are passed in for the explicit purpose of usage inside of these plugins, right? So I have config.manifest icon. So where's the manifest? Right. So here I have Gatsby plugin manifests for the progressive web app stuff. It gives the icon, and I can configure that. But I don't configure it here. So all I've done is just resolve it to the default icon, which lives inside of Gatsby themes, and that's the icon that ships it overreacted.io. So the intention is, if I were ever to overwrite this, what I would be doing is simply something like this. Actually, let's just do it live, and we'll see what happens, right? So we'll have assets, and then we'll have icon.png. Actually, you know what? Let's just have sun. I like the sun. And then let's open this up as well and paste this in. So now we have files. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, we're going to supply a manifest icon field. And we're going to say, I hope it's required.resolve. Actually, sure. Source assets. So before I save this, I want to show you that this is the icon that we see in localhost, right? So let's save this. Does it reload? Okay. If I reload this, it doesn't do anything. Probably because of the special nature of this manifest icon. I used to have, so you can see all the warnings that I print out. No manifest icon provided. Didn't I save it? manifest icon provided. Oh, so probably require resolve is not the right thing. So maybe I should just say resolve, path.resolve. Path. Oh no, I'm not the best node guy. Still not the right one. It says path.resolve. Oh, there's the sun. So something's going on with my config manifest icon. Something's going on with my checking code, but I can't be bothered. But anyway, that's so you're passing data from your top level Gatsby thing into your theme, and then using it inside of the theme to do something as simple as changing that icon. So that's pretty nice. All right, let's go through even more of what I've done. So apart from that, apart from passing it to plugins, you can also pass it into site metadata. So over here, I have a newsletter subscribe URL. Again, I don't have that supplied, but I've just given a default. And then I can query this from wherever inside of my code. So that's pretty helpful for passing in data from the top level object, sorry, top level consumer of the theme down into the theme to be used by the theme. And so inside of the theme, I have signup.js, which queries inside of site metadata newsletter subscribe URL. And then, and this, remember, this is passed in by here, for example. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna newsletter subscribe URL, levelify.com. I don't know. I don't know if that refreshes the thing. Probably not. I'm not sure. I'm just checking if this refreshes properly. It looks like I can't even see it here. Huh. All right. Well, that doesn't matter then. Anyway, so you know what? Let me just expose it so that you can see what I'm talking about. It looks like it's a null. So again, it doesn't hot reload the options. So I do have to refresh that. But it is pretty fast to set up, so I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, okay. So the reason you want to do a static query with Gatsby is because this data is not going to change. It's something that you set once from your top level consumer, again, down into the theme, and then from the theme attached onto the site metadata. For the site metadata, you can query from anywhere, which makes it really handy to add onto, for example, like a URL, and you can use that inside of your components. So one other thing that, I mean, so I've done a whole bunch of other customizations to this panel. So for example, the footer, I added, this used to be hard-coded to Dan's Twitter and Dan's GitHub. I was able to just pull it off of the site metadata. And those are relatively easy Gatsby assignments to do. I don't think I did like a lot else. I think I was mostly just cleaning up the rest of the code. Utils I did a little bit, not too much really. Like it's generally quite reusable, all of this stuff. And I think my goal with this is to just make it more and more and more reusable. Oh, so including the discuss URL, the edit URL. Where did this come in? Yeah, again, all this was hard coded for Dan's site, and I've redone it for general usage, and all done with site URL, repo URL. So site metadata, like you don't always have to supply options. You can just override site metadata on your own. So there's a little bit of conflicting, like when do I pass in site metadata? When do I pass in options? There is no way to put warnings on site metadata. So anything I feel like I need a warning for, I'll just pass it in options, and then I can run arbitrary code on it. Whereas site metadata just overrides by default, and you just have to lean on your documentation to say like, oh, if this isn't supplied, then I just won't provide it or something. So that's how I kind of look at it. I mean, I don't know if that's the right answer, but I like warnings. I like warning people if they're using my theme well, without the way that I intend. So that's it. And then literally this is going to get maximum meta. Once I am done with my with everything I did, I wrote it up in a blog post. So I added a new page, index of MD, and then I started writing all that stuff. Yeah, it's got syntax highlighting set up. It's got linking to the previous post. That's like nice relative URL there. And then it's got nice notes and stuff. And then I even used an image. So literally, I use this tool called TinyTake. And so if I wanted to show what the image was, be like, look at this. This is an example of the warning that I implemented, right? So I'm just gonna Apple R. That's the shortcode that I have. I'm gonna take a screenshot and then save this as an image, and then save it right in here as warning.png, and then refer that as markdown code. This gets processed by Gatsby image, so it loads performantly and looks nice. And that's about it. The Gatsby theme does take care of doing like next and forward for you. So that, again, that lives inside of the Gatsby theme, inside a blog post. And basically what the query does, right? This is all Gatsby's standard stuff, which is it looks for next. Yeah. Where is next? Right. It has a page context field, and it gives you the previous and next page based on Harvard decides that. I could figure it out. I just don't care to, but it's going to be inside of Gatsby node. Next. Yeah. See. So you typically have to set up all this BS logic in a Gatsby project, and it's so tiring. So that's why I'm so excited about themes, because someone just figures this out, and only if there's something wrong do I have to go dig into it, which is exactly how I want to use Gatsby. So then then you have next options, and then you can go back as well, and all this just set up for me, right? That's fantastic. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to publish it and push it up to Netlify. So you can see the final products, I guess, at gatsbytheme.devblog.netlify.com. I'll continue to be blogging on this, and yeah, that's it. All right, cheers.